Kissimmee, Florida. To millions, this name evokes the magic of theme parks, the warmth of the sun, and the pursuit of a quiet life. The epitome of the American suburban dream. It's a city sought for its quality of life, an affordable refuge at the gates of the world's greatest entertainment hubs. In 2020, nearly 80,000 souls called this place home. Among them was Trish Bishop. But Trish was no ordinary resident. She was a security specialist for the U.S. government, an agent with high-level clearance, accustomed to moving through top-secret locations, a professional whose life was dedicated to protecting information and maintaining order. Her job was to see what shouldn't be seen, to understand threats before they formed. She chose to live in Kissimmee in February 2013, seeking precisely the normality the city promised. Little did she know that in less than 30 days, the secure border of her own backyard would be breached by something that would challenge not only her career, but her fundamental understanding of reality.
It was a Thursday, February 28th, 2013. The day had been long, exhausting, like so many others in her profession. Trish arrived home and did what many of us do. She sought refuge in the outside world. She went to her backyard, a cozy space that opened up to a wooded area, the perfect place to watch the sunset and dissolve the day's tensions. She sat down. The Florida air was warm. The landscape was familiar. But as her eyes scanned the tree line, something was wrong. It wasn't smoke. It wasn't fog. It was a ripple. Above the trees, a transparent distortion hovered, a smudge in the air that blurred the landscape behind it. It was about 10 to 13 feet in diameter. Trish, with her trained eye, fixated on it. Could it be a weather phenomenon? An experimental weather balloon? She watched for 10 long minutes. The thing wasn't still. It moved. It would glide forward, then to the left, always returning to its central point, hovering over a specific tree at the edge of her property. It was still just a visual curiosity, until the sound began. Intrigued, Trish moved closer. She heard noises coming from the woods just below the anomaly. It was footsteps, the unmistakable sound of someone or something stepping on dry leaves and breaking twigs, and it was getting closer.
The sound stopped. Trish froze. Just a few feet away from her, at the border between her yard and the woods, the air began to bend. She saw it with her own eyes. At first, it looked like a hologram, a ghostly, semi-transparent projection. But within seconds, the shimmering image gained density. It became solid. The air seemed to condense, and before her, where there had been nothing, a figure materialized. It was tall, about 6.5 feet. Its body was similar to a human's, but with an impressive physique. It looked muscular, strong, like an elite athlete, easily weighing over 220 pounds. It wore a uniform, a kind of jumpsuit that covered its entire body, in a color Trish described as bronze, though it didn't appear metallic. It wore gloves. But it was when Trish looked up at the being's head that her blood ran cold. The facial structure was anything but human. The jaw was massive, protruding, dominating the face. Its mouth, partly open, revealed sharpened teeth. Where a nose should have been, there were only 2 wrinkled slits pulled upward. And the eyes were the most impossible part.
They were enormous, bulging from the skull with pupils so large and black they seemed to consume the entire sclera. Trish had the terrifying certainty that this being could not close its eyes. They didn't blink, they just watched. The skin was pale, with a chalk-like whiteness. There was no hair, no eyebrows. It was a blank canvas, dominated by those vigilant, protruding eyes.
Trish was a security agent. She understood threats. And in that moment, every fiber of her being screamed danger. Something in her intuition told her with absolute clarity that if this creature knew she was there, watching, she would be attacked. Panic threatened to take over, but her training took control. She didn't run, she didn't scream. She made the most common gesture of the 21st century. She grabbed her cell phone. Quickly, she began to fiddle with the device, her fingers trembling, but her face impassive, pretending to be absorbed in a text or call. She completely ignored the being in front of her, in a desperate attempt to blend in, to pretend she hadn't witnessed anything. Then, she began to move away, slowly. Walking backward, never turning her back to the creature, she retreated to the chair where she had been sitting. The fear was palpable. Her instinct told her to call the police. She even dialed 911 on the keypad, but her finger hovered over the call button. What would she say? What if the call alerted the being? If it reacted, she sensed it had a power that the local police could not contain. She feared that by trying to get help, she might put the entire neighborhood at risk. She remained paralyzed, seated, pretending to use her phone. But it was too late. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw movement. The being noticed Trish. The being turned its pale head and locked those impossible eyes onto her. For a few seconds, time stood still. The being stared at her. Trish didn't dare move. After what felt like an eternity, the creature broke eye contact. It turned toward the woods, toward the transparent ripple still hovering above the trees. It took a few steps, and then it began to climb. It wasn't flying. It wasn't climbing the tree. Trish watched, stunned, as the being ascended as if it were climbing invisible steps. Its feet moved, its legs bent, as if it were on a staircase she couldn't see. When it was about 30 feet up, it stopped. It looked at Trish one more time, a final confirming glance. Then it entered the rippling mass. And in a matter of seconds, everything vanished. It wasn't like something flew away at high speed. It was as if the ripple and its occupant had been simply erased from existence. Trish remained seated, her heart pounding in her chest. Fear was still dominant. Even after seeing nothing more, she stayed there for several minutes, scanning the yard with her eyes, making sure she was safe. Again, she thought about calling the police, but the story died on her lips. How could she explain that? After a few more minutes, she stood up, went to the spot. There were no footprints, no broken branches. There was nothing, only the terrifying memory.
That night changed Trish Bishop. She feared that talking about what she saw would jeopardize her career. How could a security agent with access to top-secret information maintain her credibility by reporting an encounter with an otherworldly being? Would she be fired? Considered unstable? So she kept the secret. She even made a digital sketch of the being, an attempt to catalog the impossible, to prove to herself it was real. But for 4 long years, she lived a double life. By day, she was the reliable government agent. By night, she was haunted by the sighting. She was afraid the creature would return to her yard. Every sound in the woods made her jump. She became a watcher of her own backyard. She also began to monitor MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network. the 50-year-old organization that records and investigates UFOs. She searched desperately for similar reports. Was she alone in this? Had anyone else seen the pale being or the transparent ripple? For 4 years, she found nothing.
In 2017, the weight of the secret became too much. Trish decided to contact MUFON agents. She sent an email detailing everything she saw that afternoon in February 2013. A few days later, she received a reply from John Gannon, MUFON's chief investigator for Florida. He wanted to know more. They arranged a meeting at the only possible place, Trish's backyard. Gannon needed to examine the location to understand the circumstances. Before the meeting, Gannon did what a good investigator does. He researched Trish's life. He confirmed her employment, her position. He saw she was a credible U.S. government security agent. Gannon quickly concluded that Trish had no apparent reason to invent this story. In fact, she was doing the opposite. She was putting her entire career at risk by reporting such an event. At the site, Gannon listened to the story. He believed Trish, but a credible report is not evidence. They had nothing. So he suggested something. He proposed that Trish install a trail camera in the yard. These remote devices used to capture images of wildlife are equipped with motion and heat detectors. They can remain inactive for weeks until something passes in front of them. John believed that if the creature was still visiting the area, even after so much time, the camera would catch it.
Trish installed the equipment, aiming it exactly at the spot where she saw the strange being. A few weeks passed, the camera triggered. When Trish checked the images, her heart stopped. It wasn't the being, it was the craft. The images captured by the device revealed something that was, to them, stunning. The photo showed a UFO moving away in a near-perfect descent. Trish immediately sent the photo to John Gannon, who forwarded it for analysis by MUFON experts. The conclusion was surprising. The object was about 26 feet wide by 10 to 13 feet high. It had no visible means of propulsion, no wings, no known means of lift. And according to the sequence of images, it was moving slowly. Analysts ruled out that it was any known type of aircraft. And then they compared the photo to another sighting, one that would become world famous, the 2004 Tic Tac case, witnessed by Navy personnel. The similarity was remarkable. Another detail caught their attention. The UFO seemed to be heading toward the Kennedy Space Center. And this wasn't the first time unidentified objects had been seen in that region. In 2011, there were multiple sightings over the Space Center. Gannon's investigation didn't stop there. He located another witness, someone who 6 months before Trish's encounter and just 10.5 miles away reported seeing the exact same thing, a transparent rippling mass in the air. This witness didn't see the being, but they saw the craft.
John Gannon is considered a man that is shakeable. He's the classic government agent who doesn't believe one word you say until he has hard evidence to back it up. In his report, he highlighted that Trish Bishop's report and photo presented are truthful. He classified the sighting as number 1 in his top 3 cases investigated in his entire career. But as in all cases of this nature, questions remain. Skeptics point to the most obvious flaw. That night, Trish had her phone in her hand. She had dialed 911. Why didn't she take a photo or a video of the being that was just feet away from her?
Was it paralyzing fear or the instinct of a trained agent not to provoke an unknown threat? The ground where the transparent UFO hovered was analyzed by MUFON, but 4 years had already passed. Nothing was found. Trish kept 3 trail cameras in her backyard until July 2019, when she finally moved out of that house. Over those years, the cameras triggered repeatedly. Over 6,000 images were captured, but the photos showed nothing. They were empty. This led to an even more disturbing question. Perhaps something invisible had triggered the devices. Trish Bishop has given lectures at MUFON and is considered one of the most credible witnesses in the field, precisely because of her high degree of reliability in her government career and for never changing a single detail of her account. Currently, she still works for the government and stands by her story, speaking about the subject only when she deems it necessary.
The case of Trish Bishop leaves us at an uncomfortable crossroads. We have a witness with impeccable credentials, a professional trained to observe, who risked her career to tell her story. We have a subsequent photo, analyzed by experts, that echoes one of the most famous military UFO cases of our time. And we have a report that defies logic, a being that materializes with eyes that cannot blink, climbing invisible steps into an invisible craft. What else is watching us from the tree lines, hidden behind a veil of distorted air? What does your intuition say about today's report? What would you have done in Trish's place? Would you have grabbed your phone to film it? Or would fear have paralyzed you as it did her? Was that being an explorer, a biologist, or a sentinel? And those 6,000 camera triggers, what was watching when Trish wasn't looking? Trish's story is a reminder that the highest credentials offer no protection from the unknown. If this journey through hidden Florida resonated with you, show your support. Every like is a signal flare to the algorithm, the fuel that allows us to continue this investigation and show that the search for answers must continue. Check if you are already subscribed to Alien Cases. For this work to continue, your like and your subscription are fundamental. The next case might be the missing piece. And please, leave your comment below. Did you already know Trish Bishop's story? Does the Tic Tac connection change your perspective? We want to hear your theory.